I thought I'd go ahead and spend some time trying to bring a little bit of education because I have a lot of people that are asking me questions. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. Listen, never get a marriage license. Never get a marriage license. Now, it's totally up to you. It's your prerogative. It's your choice if you want to get a marriage license. I mean, after all, anytime the government gives you license or grants you privileges for something that's already a right for you to do in the first place, they've got perks. They got benefits for it. You get to claim them as dependents. But I will tell you that the marriage contract has been one of the most expensive contracts that lawyers and court systems has used against the man. You don't have to have a state marriage license in order to be married. George Washington didn't have it. All right? Are you listening to me? Marriage license came into being, and most of you don't know because you've been dumped down to an unprecedented level, believing this paradigm, everything that this country sells you and everything that they tell you, you believe it, and you don't check out anything, and you assume that just because you put mental assent to it, that you're right, but you're wrong. Marriage license came into play at the close of the 20th century, somewhere along in there, the early 1900s, because of miscegenation laws. In other words, they didn't want whites and blacks being married. Now, if they were going to let coloreds and whites, that's what they was calling them back then, be married, they was going to regulate it. And that regulation gave the government control over the fruit of that union. That's the sole purpose of marriage license. You don't believe me? I dare you go check it out. You think, as a parent, that those children are yours. But as soon as you get a marriage license and then you go to the hospital and sign a birth certificate, then you get a Social Security number on top of that, you all but finished.
The marriage license is another instrument that's used the same way, same with the birth certificate. The birth certificate is used so the corporation or the plantation claims the birth of the child. Like you get a certificate and it'll say, born in the state of New Jersey. Say, born in Camden, in the state of New Jersey. So that means the Camden Municipal Corporation gave you birth, being subject to the New Jersey State Corporation established in 1844, and that's your mother. And that's a certificate where the mother signs the child over to the hospital, who is in cahoots with the state under the Christian black codes, and they regulate, and they're like spies, they tell everything, and they operate together. Now you look back into the Christian black codes of 1724 and you'll see the absolute relationship between the hospital and the state. All right? So the offspring of the womb automatically belongs to the state, and so that you don't feel uncomfortable, instead of saying slave, they'll call it W-A-R-D, ward of the state. So the child being state property, that instrument or that birth certificate, being that's their property under commercial auspices, is transferred into a stock. And so at birth, that child, I think as of now, what's about 20 years ago was about 16,000. So about now it's probably 30 some odd $1,000, or representative 35,000 units, that when the child is born and that certificate is put on them, that burden is already put on that child. So what they do, they borrow against it, project it on the tax that they expect to get from that thing during its life cycle. All right? So
last I was reading, it was $630,000.
$630,000 now? Yeah, just because that's because it accelerated exponentially.
And they have on the birth certificate mother or other informant.
Yes, yeah.
They will form it.
Yes, and they're agents. And also when those things, and remember, don't take offense. From a political perspective, they're listed as it. They're not listed as people. Yes. Negroes, blacks, and colored are listed in government and in military as it. And also if they are neutralized in a war or conflict, they're listed as advisors. So if you see In any conflict where a certain amount of persons are neutralized, and they say so many advisors died, they're Asiatics, of Asiatic African birth. They're not listed as citizens. This is also why they have a difficulty, as you see over the years, you see different wars go up that take place, and you see different people start movements to try to get these people recognized and all this stuff, you know, from Troop 54, from the Civil War and all that kind of stuff, and they doing all kind of stuff to get them recognized. The reason why they're not, because they're not citizens, they're property. They're property of the citizens. Whoever's name they bear, that's bonded. They're under liens and bonds from birth. So they're born in sin. And born in sin does not mean like, you know, right and wrong. Born in sin means born in ignorance. Sin is ancient Hebrew. And when they translate, just like when they translate the Bible, they don't translate the culture. They translate European Romantic culture and interject Constantine's principles, when in actuality that means ignorance. Sin is ignorance or lack of knowledge. All right, so keep that in mind.
That's why when the DHS come knocking at your door, or when they go to your public school system and take your children and shoot them up with it, snake venom and monkey pus, and do whatever they want, you may get upset, but you better not say a word, because remember, ignorance of the law is no excuse. You opted into this. They didn't disclose the terms and agreement to you when you signed that marriage license. There is a big old law right behind that little certificate that you get. And you are nothing more than a babysitter to your children. Now, you can get mad, you can get upset, all you want, but I dare you to go check me out. See what it says, see what I'm saying. Check me out, see if what I'm saying is so. Because you'll be a whole lot better off if you got married and got a family Bible and signed it. Do like the rich people do, draw up a contract or what's called a prenuptial agreement. Hold each other to the fire, because today people's word don't mean nothing. You can see that today. People's word don't mean nothing. But if you want to protect yourself, never get a marriage license. And if a woman says that she's not going to marry you, or she's not going to marry you until you get a license, then guess what? You know that's not the woman for you. That's the truth. Shalom.
Cole? Yeah?
We people who are darker than blue, don't let us hang around this town and let what others say come true. We're just good for nothing, they all figure. A boy's grown up shiftless jigger. Now we can't hardly stand for that, or is that really where it's at? We people who are darker than blue, we got no time for segregating. Let's talk about brown and yellow too. How yellow, yeah, can't you tell? You're just the surface of our dark, deep well. If your mind could really see, you'd know your color, same as me. Pardon me, brother, as you stand in your glory. I know you won't mind if I tell the whole story.
Look at this. They always call you civilian. But did you really know that civilian means you are skilled and versed in law? Now look at that.
out